Hey everyone, I'm Ultima456 and welcome to another channel update. So it has been a little while since I made one. The last one was in June and it was to do with E3. So I thought I'd finally make another one because I think the moment seems pretty apt to do so. So first, I want to thank you all for supporting me and watching as much as you guys have. It's been crazy the amount of viewership and subscribers and just views I've been getting over the past few weeks and months. It's been just crazy, more than I've ever had at any point in the time that I've been doing this. So thank you so much. One thing I want to actually mention is the fact that there's a site known as Social Blade. Most people will probably know about it, but if you don't know about Social Blade, it essentially gives you kind of like a rundown on what channels, like how many views and subscribers channels are gaining and all this kind of stuff. In that channel, it also provides you with future projections. And at one stage earlier in the year, it was saying that my channel would get to 1 million views by right at the end of the year, and like 3,000 subscribers. I was like, I don't think it's going to happen, unfortunately. I think that's a little bit much of a stretch. But it said that for a while, and then as the dates started getting closer, it started like sort of becoming less and less likely. But now, what is interesting is that because of the PS Plus games released in November, which were Neo and Outlast 2, and I'm so happy that Neo finally released. I had a sneaking suspicion that it would release at some point, and to see it come out in November was fantastic. I'm so glad that it finally got released. And if you haven't downloaded it yet or added it to your library, definitely go do that before it goes away. It's a phenomenal game in my opinion. It's just so great, and it's definitely worth a play. It takes a really long time to get used to, but it's just so good. And you got my guide right there to help you out. But one thing that is interesting is that in 2018, I was trying to reach about 1,000 views on average per day. But I wasn't really hitting it. I was kind of getting close. It was like 850, 900, 950. Sometimes I'd push it to like 1,050, but it would be so infrequent that it wouldn't make up the rest of the views. So I would be getting like high 800s and low 900s of views per day. But as the weeks and months have gone on, I've actually managed to hit that, which is crazy. And I'll tell you a quick little story. During the beginning of the year, I had 1,000 views a day on average up until about March or April. I can't remember, maybe even pushing it to May. And then my viewership started to drop. I actually lost my 1,000 views a day by 7,000 views. So to give you an example of what I mean is, like, let's say, so around May is like day 150 of the year, right? So it was day 150, but I only had like 143,000 views. So I was like, great, I need to somehow like close the gap by getting 7,000 views over the period of like what is remaining in the year. And so as each day went on, I would get like a little bit more and a little bit more and a little bit more. So I'd get like 1,000, and then maybe it would be like 1,050, maybe 1,100, 1,200 if I was very lucky. And then I'd kind of drop on another day where I'd only hit like 700 or 800 or whatever. And I kept checking, and as the weeks and months went by, and it took a long time, but as the weeks and months went by, it was like, you're 7,000 views away, you're 6,000 views away, you're 5,000 views away, 4, 3, 2. And then finally I was 1,000 views away a couple of weeks ago. And now as of checking the latest, I'm recording this on November 10th, 2019. As of checking the latest update, I am like 3,300 views ahead, which is insane. Now, here's the thing. On the future projections on Social Blade, it was telling me that I would hit 1 million subscribers and 3,000, sorry, 1 million subscribers, 1 million views, 1 million channel views, and 3,000 subscribers by the end of the year. Now, I didn't think this was going to happen, and for the most part, I still don't. In fact, I'm almost certain that I won't hit that. But one goal that is possible is 900,000 views and about 2,700 subscribers. There are around 50, I think it's 51 days left in the year, and I'm on like 840,000 views almost. So that brings it to 891,000. So I have to get 9,000 views in 51 days on top of already getting 1,000 views a day as an average. But because of Neo releasing, this might actually be a possibility. So it'd be really cool to hit that milestone. The milestone I care about most is actually hitting the views, because that would be awesome to just like sort of especially because I followed it like the entire way. You know, it was sort of like, well, not the entire year, but like when I got to March, April, when YouTube has this new thing called like YouTube Studio Beta that it's gonna just implement at some point. They're gonna get rid of like the classic studio, creator studio thing, which I don't really like. Like I like the original one and I like aspects of the new one. But so hopefully when more features come to the new one, they just like, you know, give us everything that they had in the previous version with some new stuff. So, you know, I don't know what's going to happen with that, but I hope it does. I hope they do give us all that stuff. And when that came out, I started looking and I was like, okay, like I can see how it's going. And now after all that time, I've been pushing and pushing and pushing and pushing, and it's so close. It's like so close, and I might actually get there. So thank you to all of you who've been watching, and just, you know, business as usual. Just keep doing it and keep watching, and we might hit 900,000 by the end of the year. I'm going to keep an eye on it, and fingers crossed we hit it. It'll be really cool. Okay, so what's the next thing? So I will be uploading this on November 16th. Voice broke. Great. November 16th, 2019. That's when I'll be uploading this. So it's almost a week from when I'm recording it, but I have to do it that way just because of how things worked out. So yesterday should have been the final episode of The Evil Within 2. It would be uploaded on November 15th, 2019. That's the last episode of The Evil Within 2. And then this is going up. Now, here's the thing. I haven't really talked about it too much. I believe I mentioned it in the final episode of The Evil Within 2. But if I didn't, the next game that I really want to do is Resident Evil 7. I want to do that game because I've been wanting to play that for ever since it came out. I think it came out January 24th, 2016 or 17? I can't remember which one. I think 17. Anyway, whatever. It came out at some point like ages ago, and I didn't get a chance to play it, and people were raving about it and say this is fantastic, it's an excellent game, it's so good. And so I really wanted to do that for the channel, and that's what I've been doing. I've actually been playing it for about a week or two, something like that. Yeah, been playing it for a little while. I've already finished it once. I'm working on a second playthrough now, just analyzing everything that I did in the first playthrough, making sure to get everything else that I need, and then I want to do a quick another playthrough to test that. So there's a lot of like, it's quite an extensive process, especially because Resident Evil 7 also has a tremendous amount of DLC. I don't know how long it takes, but it's a large amount of DLC. There's a lot in there, and there's a lot in the game to unpack as well. So I really hope to keep working on that, and that is probably what's going to come out next. Now, the thing I want to mention as well is that I don't know if I'm going to be posting it the day after I post this. So I know that it's going to go The Evil Within 2 last episode, this video, and then the first episode of Resident Evil 7 is either going to go up the day after that, or I would actually kind of like to give myself about a week off. Now, I don't want to because obviously, like, as I mentioned before, like I'm trying to hit 900,000 views, so constantly uploading every single day is a good idea. But I want to give myself enough time to push myself far enough into Resident Evil 7 to make sure that I deliver like a quality experience, especially because what that means is that if I upload it the very next day, I literally only have next Saturday. So this is a Sunday. I have in 6 days. That's when I have to record the first episode, and technically I would have to record like 6 episodes or 7 episodes to get to the Saturday after that, so that I can continue recording from there. Because I only really record on Saturdays and Sundays because I'm just too tired from work when I come home during the weekdays. So I don't know. I kind of want to give myself a little bit of time. I don't know exactly what's going to happen. I'm going to be putting I basically have to work my ass off just to get this done. So if you don't see a video for like a week, don't panic. It's just like I needed the time to do it. But I will attempt to do it as quickly as I possibly can, while also still maintaining the quality. I think I can because like it's just about to hit 3 o'clock now on Sunday, so I still have a decent amount of time to play and execute and do what I need to do, so that next week I can actually make something pretty good. So I'm going to try and do that, and we'll see what happens. Now, after Resident Evil 7, I'm actually not sure what I'm going to do. The only thing I can think of right now is like I could do the Resident Evil 2 DLC, which is very short. I could do the Neo DLC, which is a decent idea because people will have been playing the main Neo proper, and then if they choose to go and do the DLC, at least my guide will be there. The only thing about that is that the Neo DLC is huge. It's like stupidly big. But having said that, the end of the year is coming up. So I will have like at least a little bit more time to do that. I'm going to be taking 2 weeks off at the end of the year. My business closed last year and we were able to just have 2 weeks off. But this time I actually have to use some leave because the boss wants to keep it open. So whatever. But I want to take my 2 weeks off because I can and I deserve it. I've been working really, really hard this year. In fact, if I had to, I'd probably say this is the year I've worked like the hardest. Well, I don't know, like the other years I've worked hard as well. One interesting thing is that, so this will go up November 16th. In 8 days after this goes up, I will have been doing YouTube for 4.5 years. So, it's a long time. It's a lot of time consumption. It's a lot of sacrifice. Like there's stuff that I want to do, other games I want to play and different things that I want to do in my life that I just can't right now because I'm so focused on this. But I really believe in this and I really want it to turn into something in the future. And it would be really cool if like that could just happen, if at some point. I don't mind. I think I've already convinced myself that I don't mind how long it takes, just as long as I can have all the sacrifice that I'm making now can be warranted in the future. So hopefully that happens. And with the way things are going and the trends that I'm seeing, like maybe it will happen. So once again, as always, a big thank you to you guys for helping me live my dream in a way, a dream that I didn't really know what my dream was going to be, but this is pretty cool. This is pretty close. So, I'll just keep pushing hard every day, week, month, year, and we'll see what happens. All right, next thing. So the next thing I want to talk about is this hasn't happened in a while, or I haven't talked about this for like ever since I don't even know if I've even mentioned it in an update video, but I may have I definitely mentioned it to people in comments. So I really want to quickly touch on this because I don't like saying a certain thing in a comment or whatever and then not bringing it up or not like, devoting attention to it because I haven't said it in a little while. About 3 years ago, I did Tales of Symphonia, the first game, Tales of Symphonia, and it was a part of a 2-game series, Tales of Symphonia and Tales of Symphonia Dawn of the New World on Tales of Symphonia Chronicles on the PS3. So I did Tales of Symphonia. It's a fantastic game. I was going to say, if you haven't watched it, go watch it. It's a massive, massive, massive playthrough. It's 233 episodes long. I don't expect anyone to watch that, although people have told me that they did. There are people who have said, like, I watched the whole thing, I got the platinum, thank you so much. And I'm like, thank you for watching all 233 episodes, because as much as I love that game and as much as it was a difficult journey to actually kind of put all that together, like, to have someone actually watch it and go, yeah, it worked and it was great and it was fun. So that means the world to me. But if you've never watched Tales of Symphonia, I love it. It's a fantastic game. I think you should play it. And I talked about doing the sequel. I said I would definitely do the sequel at some point in the future. Now, the only problem is that there have been a few other commenters who've mentioned games to me, who've given me some suggestions. Like, I believe there was a commenter who wanted me to play Naruto Shippuden Ultimate Ninja Storm, I think it's called. There was another commenter who mentioned, I can't remember the name of it exactly, but it's like Ace Combat Skies. It's like a flight simulator, and then obviously the other one's like an anime fighting game. Now, the only reason I don't play those is because they're niche titles, right? Or niche, as people say nowadays as well. When I was your age, we said niche, so I'm going to say niche. When I was your age? Whatever. Anyway, they're kind of like niche titles, so they're for certain people who buy the same ones every single year. It's kind of like people who buy FIFA every single year, or NBA games, or MLB games, which I think is baseball, Major League Baseball in America. So they're very niche games, and Tales of Symphonia is kind of, it straddles that kind of like middle ground where it's kind of like it's an RPG, or it's a JRPG, so it is kind of like for a specific audience. But as the years go by, people who have certain tastes get introduced to stuff like JRPGs, and they go, oh wow, I really, really, really like this. However, I don't think it's smart of me to devote my main game to a sequel to what is a phenomenal game, and this sequel is good, but not great. You know what I mean? But at the same time, I still want to like make up what my promise was. I still want to do it. So I don't know how I'm going to do that. It's still in my brain. I will. I'm not going to forget about it. Trust me, I'm not going to forget about it. I do want to do it at some point. It's just that I need to figure out another way to go about it. And maybe like, even though, like I said, I generally don't have time, but like, even if it comes down to um, playing the game when I can, writing like a little guide, like writing as detailed a guide as I could possibly write, and then just leaving it for a little bit and just recording like really slowly, like one episode a day or something like that, just on the side if I can, or a few episodes a week or something like that, just so I can eventually get it done. I don't know, but I did want to kind of just bring it there and say I can't like absolutely promise that I'm going to keep my promise. I know that sounds bad, but I'm going to try, and I wanted to at least address it. That was the word I was looking for, address. I just wanted to address it. So, because yeah, it's been over 3 years since I started it. I believe I finished it in April 2017, so we're getting to 3 years since I finished it. So it has been a long time. I did say it would be a long time. I remember saying, like, at the time, I was like, if I do this, it's still going to be a while before I actually do it. So, hopefully it'll happen when it happens. So that's enough on that. But anyway, next thing, Demon's Souls Remaster. So there's been a lot of talk in the industry right now with, I think it was Blue Point Games. I hope it was Blue Point Games. And they're known for remasters, and apparently they're working on the Demon's Souls Remaster, or like the rumors that they're working on a Demon's Souls Remaster. If that's the case, and I honestly think it is, like I don't know, there are a lot of rumors in this vein, to me, are like, it has to be true. It just has to be. I mean, like, why? They made Demon's Souls. They made Dark Souls. Dark Souls 2, Bloodborne, Dark Souls 3. Is that the right order? And then Sekiro. I think that's the right order. So they made all these games, and then they remastered, like 1 and 2. So why not remaster Demon's Souls where it started at all? I think it's going to happen. It's just a matter of time, but I do think it's going to happen. And if it does happen, I will be playing it, obviously. And if I play it, that will do the Soulsborne Kiro, Sekiro, Soulsborne Kiro, Sextilogy or something. I don't know how many games there are, but it'll do all of the games from software of the action RPG, Soulsborne variety. On the channel, which would be fantastic. I think it would be really cool. So I'm definitely looking forward to that. When, in my opinion, almost certainly it will come out. We haven't had confirmation yet, but I just can't see how it won't come out. So it'd be really cool to get that. The next thing, I don't want to stay on this one too long, just because it's a bit tricky, but I actually don't know what games I want to do after Resident Evil 7. People have mentioned stuff like The Surge. I think people mainly mention The Surge 2, but if I do The Surge 2, I may as well do The Surge 1. From the very little I know about the two games, it seems like, obviously The Surge, the developers, made a whole bunch of choices, and then in Surge 2, they improved a lot of things. I don't know anything apart from that, like, maybe they also didn't do a lot of good things in Surge 2. I don't know. There's a whole bunch of stuff that happened, but I think those are probably the next two that I'm kind of leaning towards. I know I said that I would probably do Code Vein. I'm not actually super interested in it. I saw a little bit of it. I was going to buy it when it came out. It was a Friday, like 3 months ago, and I was going to buy it, and I was like, like, I don't know. There was just something in me that I was like, nah, I'm not going to buy it. So I haven't bought it. I haven't played it. I saw like a very little bit at the beginning. Like I am an anime fan, and I like, I love anime stories, so maybe, it is actually good, but I don't know. I think at the time I couldn't really give it a chance because I was so busy on other things. So maybe at some point I'll give it a chance later on. But the part of the reason I don't want to do it is because apparently there are like some multiplayer trophies that are not just kind of like trophies that you can unlock yourself. Like you actually have to have another person, and it's like, why? Like, it's a single player game. Just let me do what I need to do, Anyway, it's how it goes. I don't know what's going to happen with that, but I just wanted to address that as well. It might happen, it might not happen. We'll see what happens. In terms of like what I'm going to do next. I think what I need to do is I need to really sit down and do some research on some games that have come out recently and go, okay, what would be kind of smart to do, what would be fun to do, and what would people want to see? Because now, you know, the best, I think the best Let's Plays out there are Soulsborne games, or the best stuff to watch are like Soulsborne games and survival horror games. I think they're the best. And I've kind of done, you know, I've done Resident Evil 1 and 2. I'm going to do 7. 3 Remaster is also, or remake, is going to come out at some point. 8 is going to come out at some point. 4 I haven't played, but it's critically acclaimed, so that should be great. I should be able to do that at some point, but I don't want to do Resident Evil 4 immediately after doing Resident Evil 7, especially, like, I tend to do actually like 2 Soulsborne games and then 2 survival horror games. I should do like 1 of each, but it's just how it turned out. So I don't really want to go straight into 4 after 7, and then not only that, but like 5 has some kind of like online trophies. They're not too bad, especially on the PS4 version. I think they like reduced the amount of matches that you had to do. But it's still annoying. And then 6, people hate 6 like with a passion. I've never played it. Apparently it's very much more action oriented. I would like to play it at some stage. I think I downloaded it. People talk about Resident Evil, what is it? 0 and, well, Code Veronica I played, but it was such a long time ago. I've heard a lot of good things about 0. So there's a lot of Resident Evil to do as well. I don't see myself doing Silent Hill, although I don't know, I could. I have the PS3 version. I don't think they're releasing a PS4 version, but I guess I could do Silent Hill. They're great games, so yeah, I don't know. We'll see. I'm going to have to really do some research and figure out what I want to do next, because it's almost like I'm starting to run out of games, which I know is not the case, but it's just nothing immediately apparent comes to mind. The only other thing that comes to mind is the Devil May Cry games. I love the Devil May Cry games. They take a lot of getting used to, but they're really, really cool. But then, I don't know, what do I do? Do I do like 1 and then just skip 2 entirely because it's terrible? And then do 3, 4, 5 and DMC? I don't know. We'll see. I think what I need to do right now is I need to just focus on Resident Evil 7, get that out of the way, and then really sit down and focus and do some research and figure out what I can do, because there's a lot of games out there, and there's a lot to do. So we'll see what happens. All right. I think I'm pretty much going to leave it there. The only thing I really want to say once again is thank you to everyone who's been watching. Hopefully you guys can keep doing that, because it's really, you know, it's really crazy to see like just how much the channel is growing day by day. And I don't know, it's insane. I was looking at my analytics, and this year so far I've earned about 888, I think it was, subscribers so far. So I should be able to hit 1,000 by the end of the year, hopefully. And that's insane to think about, because my first 1,000 took forever. Like, it took like 3 years to get 1,000. And now on this next year, I've done 1,000 all in 1 year. So, you know, it is getting faster, and I don't mind the length of time that it takes. My intention was never to be a 1 million subscriber channel or like a gigantic personality. If I wanted to do that, I probably would have done that. I probably would have like just, you know, been crazy, for a lack of a better term. But essentially, this is kind of what I want. I like this humble, sort of small community that I've built, and yeah, you know, things are good. And I think my life for the most part is pretty good right now. But it can always be better. So with that, I want to thank you all for watching. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe. And the final thing I should say is, like, if you want, you can also donate to my Patreon. It's in the link below. A whole bunch of stuff that I've put in there. I think it was my sister and I actually did it together. A whole bunch of like behind the scenes stuff. I think there's about 10 weeks worth, 10 or 11 weeks worth. They're just small snippets. All they are is like we had like a book, and we said, okay, like, what needs to be improved on the channel? What do we need to fix? You know, and we kind of like wrote down these things, and then she's very much more artistic than I am, so she kind of like did all these photos and pictures and all that kind of stuff, and just kind of like displayed in a nice way. And we just talked about what the process was of creating the channel and all that kind of stuff. So if you're curious about like the behind the scenes aspect of it, or if you're interested in that kind of like very analytical side of growing a channel, you can look at that and use that as a reference. At the end of the day, the most important thing you need in anything, in video games and in life: determination and practice. That's it. Those two things will get you everywhere. Determination and practice. You will never, ever, ever always fail at something if you have determination and practice. And failure is good because you can learn from failure. Anyway, on that cheerful note, I'll get back to Resident Evil 7 and hope to see it, and you guys will hope to see it very soon. So I want to thank you all for watching this channel update video. My name's Ultima456. You're the Ultimates, and I'll see you next time.